Welcome home, Raiders. This week, after a massive fall-off in subscriptions, Blizz bans over 100,000 players. We'll have more details for you. Ian Hazzikostas is back in the news and much more. This is CTR 181.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
Convert to Raid podcast power station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is May 17th, 2015. It is now 11:13 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And thank you for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello, my name is Pat Crane. I am the host of this little shindig and known as Zug around Airy Peak, US. Still raiding, still doing the thing. I was off last week. We were all off last week, but the players are back. And one player is actually back in a new location. And so from the sunny California Bay Area, it's Darius.
Yeah, I'm now here. I think it's roughly every 30 episodes I move.
Right.
I'm glad that we're paying for that and everything. It's nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little relocation. You like the new digs?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and, well, it's not really. It's sunny here. It rained on Thursday, which I was told it never does here.
Well...
So I think I brought Seattle with me.
Let's go where it really never rains, and that's to La La Land, to Hollyweird, California, to the Funky Monk. It's Coltrane.
Fortune cookie say.
Ow.
Oh, you better be careful because I live down the road now.
That's true. You are close by.
Right.
That's very true.
Right.
Why can't gnomes become paladins?
I don't know. Why can't gnomes become paladins?
Because they can't reach the light. Okay. Because they can't reach the light.
Wait, where's my show over button?
The
there
holy
right
light, and also, the light switch because they're gnomes.
Right. Well, hello, fellas.
Yes.
Who do we have to thank for that one?
We have to thank Magic in Agony, Misha, Horde US, and I'm seeing 10 out of 10 bongos, my friends.
Oh, I see a minus a million as well.
No, I'm seeing 11 out of 10. I'm seeing many bongos. Now, I may only seeing what I want to see. I'm seeing
that never happens.
I see.
I'm only
just
seeing
like WoW, you get negative 3 million bongos.
Oh,
that's not nice. That's not nice at all.
Ouch.
How dare you?
Well, we have a couple of weeks of catching up to do with everybody here. So, Darius, other than the move, what has been going on with your WoW time? We won't get into the big news stuff, but anything little's going on in WoW with you?
I haven't had a whole lot of WoW time because the move and a bunch of people came to my house a couple weeks ago and took all my stuff.
Right.
I assumed they were movers. I'm glad that they were.
Right.
So I didn't have, much of anything.
Your computer made it, and that's really the most important thing.
Well, one of them did. My streaming box did not make it.
Oh, no.
I don't know what's wrong with that.
Uh-oh.
But, yeah, I just haven't had a whole lot of time. That and the new job and figuring everything out has severely limited my time to play the video games.
It happens.
I got to say one thing that was just classic nerd, and I love this, because this is who we are, right? I was talking to Darius, and I said, so you got your whole house packed up? And he's like, yeah, everything, the furniture, the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what do you have left? He's like, well, I got my computer, an air mattress, and the line for like a pizza place. And that's it. That's all you need.
Right.
And it's true. Like, for us nerds, all we need to survive is literally a computer and then some type of mattress to sleep on. And speed dial to the local pizza place. Yeah. That's it.
And
it's
sometimes not even a mattress. You don't need that. You don't need it.
But that's a necessity. Like for all of us, when we move, we take careful packaging of the computer.
Oh,
we make sure it's, you
bubble wrap that about 1,500 layers of bubble wrap.
Yeah, that one went with me. It was strapped into a seatbelt in the back seat in my car and everything.
That's right. You got it tucked into like the kid car seat in the back. You're good to go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, priorities, man.
Right.
I love it.
Exactly. Cole, what's been happening with you in game lately?
Well, I gotta admit, I've been doing a little dibble-dabble in the old mage.
Ooh.
What? Yes, I've been sticking around and kind of, I got my mage to 100.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of grief from my brothers in blue about my mage being 90 forever. So I finally geared him up. So I got him to 100. Which was great. And I got to admit, it's fun being ranged again and playing the mage. Man, the perspective, like these fights, it's so much easier. Like, you see the whole fight in front of you. You got nothing to worry about,
Right.
So it's been fun actually playing the mage again. And so now it just begins the process of gearing him up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I got like no tier now and all that stuff. So, but he's getting up there.
I am with you, but totally opposite, because I leveled up my shaman to 100 enhancement, male enhancement, because you said it was the best. And I'm like, okay,
Clearly.
great. And now I'm just staring at boss butt the entire time. And so it's like totally opposite. I'm like, why can't I sit back and watch this thing a little bit more? Why can't I do this or that? And so I actually did a little bit of raiding, went into normal high mall with some guys, and we cleared a couple of bosses, and it kind of fell apart after about a couple of hours.
Sure.
An hour or two, and it was like, all right, fine. Let's just let's go back to it. But I got a couple of pieces out of it, and hopefully I'll start raiding on it. Who knows?
That's awesome.
But it's interesting. The shaman is very interesting, and I'm glad that I switched to enhancement because I've never played it before.
It's a lot of fun. Lot of fun.
It was a good time, that's for sure. And we actually have some fairly, I don't know if this is stunning news or whatnot, but it all happens with the official raid team of the Convert to Raid podcast. That's right. We're talking about the Asparagus Initiative.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had we had a little bit of a shakeup this week. We had, or actually in the last couple of weeks since we were on last. And I think that Darius might want to talk about it.
We did.
Right. What happened, Darius?
I have left the Asparagus Initiative.
What?
Yeah.
No! Oh!
I came to the realization when they had taken all of my stuff, and I had not much else to do but sit and think, that with my new job and with everything else, I think the Asparagus Initiative is just not quite the progression level that I'm looking for. I love everyone on the team. Everyone is great. We've had an amazing time. But I'm looking for something a little bit more hardcore with the very limited amount of time that I have to play now every week. So I've left the Asparagus Initiative.
Right.
No hard feelings towards anyone or anything like that except Shark.
Right, of course.
But yeah,
naturally, yes.
But I'm just looking for a little bit more. I think Colt's spur a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, as to what we really are, really got me thinking. Mm-hmm. And I think for my my 30,000 gold a month,
right?
That another raid team might suit me a little better for now.
And so you've jumped ship, and along with you went a few other people, which was I think kind of expected. I mean, I expected it as soon as we see somebody of Darius' caliber leave the program, so to speak. That he's not leaving this program, but he's just leaving the team. And as soon as you jump ship, other people are going to follow because they want the same things. A lot of so I think there were like 5 people that left, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so and good luck to you as you move on. I know that you have already tried to start raiding and you were thwarted immediately.
Yeah, the attendance boss and all of that.
Right. And as you're trying to build a new team, you don't have enough team members to make your team, which is
which is the problem that we had in Asparagus Initiative.
Right. It's the same damn problem.
Which I want to clarify. Asparagus Initiative is not breaking up at all. No, not at all. No. So that's not what's happening. I know they met the other day and they've decided to do a lot of continue with heroics and things like that, but they are not breaking up. No, that's not what's happening. No, it's just I left because I just wasn't you know, I just wasn't getting the bang for my buck, I guess you could say.
Right.
And
That's all.
That's something that we talk about on the show. You know, we get a lot of Q&A. We get a lot of questions from people that say, I want more. I want to do more of this, but I can't. And I'm, frustrated and this is going on. And we say to them, then you need to switch teams.
Right.
You got to be happy. You
Right.
got to enjoy your time. This is your 30,000 gold a month. As you said, Darius, this is your $15 a month.
Yeah.
So if you want to be more on a more mythic, kind of more hardcore progression team, then you got to do it. You know what I mean? You have to, because otherwise you're just going to get angry and frustrated, and that's going to ruin your WoW time. So
Right.
I actually applaud it. I think it's great for somebody that if you see something that you want, you go for it. You know what I mean? Because you need to enjoy your time in game. That's what's most important. So
Yeah, but the day before I told Asparagus Initiative, I called Colt because I didn't know what to do. I was stuck. I was frustrated. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. And he actually said that exact to me. He's like, we tell people this all the time. It's your $15. You have to be happy. He's like, you got to listen to yourself. And I was like, man, you're right. We did every show we say that.
that's right. I said to Darius, you need to take a nice big swim in Lake U. and he did. And I think it's great.
Right.
So.
And we talked before you made the post and before you did the thing, and I pretty much said the same deal. It's like, yeah, I know that you're not happy with the progression that we've had, and I know that you're not happy with having to deal with these roster switches all the time, and that's one of the things that's been killing us in making that progression is having a consistent roster week after week. And this leads me to the question, fellas, is Mythic next to impossible for a more casual schedule, for what we call the casual hardcore, I guess? Those guys that are really, they want to be at the cutting edge of progression, but they don't have the schedule for whatever reason it is. Is it next to impossible? Is it going to be really, really hard, a very difficult challenge for those folks moving ahead? Is this what we're going to see from Blizzard? So I don't know if you guys have a thought about that, but I think that is the question moving forward, is what is that going to do to the casual hardcore teams? Darius, you were having the same problems with roster this week too. So
yeah,
I mean
maybe it is. We have 4 tiers of rating now, right? We have LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic. That's double what we've had for the majority of WoW. Even quadruple, at the beginning. It's so much rating. There's so many different tiers that maybe that is the case. Maybe, a limited schedule team is now, is not by design not able to do mythic content, or it's much, much harder with that limited schedule, with how challenging these fights are and how demanding they can be. And maybe that's by design for Blizzard, because they say, hey, there's 3 other tiers of rating that you can do and still see this content. It's a tough thing to realize as a heroic team that wants to do mythic, or a partially mythic team, that maybe by design we're not able to do this anymore. It's a hard thing to come to terms with.
Yeah, I mean it's much more than just seeing the content for that group of people. I mean, it's about defeating difficult content, right? I mean, Colt, what are your thoughts on this?
I think the entire issue is schedule. And I think that, the Asparagus Initiative, we are 2 nights a week. I think if you look across the board, if you want to be a mythic team on 2 nights a week, that's next to impossible.
Right.
I mean, there's a team in CTR, Tainted Core. I think they're the number 1 raid team right now, and I'm not sure on their mythic count. I think it's 6 or 7 mythic or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're even 3 nights a week, right?
4.
They're doing 3 nights a week.
4.
3.
They're doing 4 or 3?
They raid 4 now.
They raid 3 nights a week. Well, Kleptic is in our chat room.
3 or 4. It's more than we do.
Right. Well,
So-
he is the raid leader, so we can ask him, and he can confirm that they are
Sure.
3 nights a week.
Sure.
I only bring that up because that's been a constant argument between Yeska and I. But anyway, so think about it, right? So we're 2 nights a week, okay? So if you want to do mythic stuff, it means you need some really hardcore mythic level players, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's tough to accomplish in a 2 night a week. If most of those hardcore players are doing 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, or something like that. Kleptic said 3 nights.
He also said he's not the raid leader.
Oh, okay. And he's not the raid leader. Yuffie is. All right. Well, 3 nights a week. So I'm just saying that I think the issue that we have is strictly schedule. I think if Asparagus Initiative was 3 nights a week, like Tainted Core, or 4, I think we'd be seeing a lot more progression. I think we'd be getting a lot more bosses down. Yeah. It's very difficult in such a limited schedule to get stuff done on the mythic level.
Right.
You know, because we need to get those hardcore players, and those hardcore players, sometimes they want to raid more than just 2 nights and all that. So I think the only issue here is schedule. If you're going to be a 2-night-a-week team, I think that's more of a heroic with occasional mythic, but I think you got to go to at least 3. I was checking on WoW Progress, and I think there's really only very small amount of teams that do 2 nights a week that are successful in Mythic, that are 6, 7, or 8 Mythic. There's like, it's like 0.1% or something like that that can survive and be successful at 2 nights a week. So I think it's strictly a schedule.
And I think part of the thing too is that after, wiping all night on one boss or all week with 2 nights a week, if you're wiped the entire week with just one boss, you start to feel a little bit more defeated, because then it's another week until you can get in there and try to defeat that boss. Right. And so the progression just is really slow. And I think that kind of bogs down everything. And that's when players start to think, this progression is not moving fast enough for me. I need something else. Okay, let's move on to a different team. And then you have to work in a new team member to fill in their place. And so you never move anywhere. It's just you start to get into this circular system of trying to get used to new players while your older players are dropping out. And it's like, it's so tough.
Right.
It's just a really difficult spot for a lot of people. And I really hope that, and I know that Ian Hazzikostas just was in this Gamesbeat article, and he kind of talked about this. And as we talk about other news articles, I'm sure this same thing is going to come up. This interview is going to come up again. But he was even saying that he wished that Mythic were one of those things where it could be flexible, because that would be great.
Right.
Of course, then it would, have other problems with the top 1% as they went through the race. But I mean, I think that's kind of a smaller problem to have.
And the tuning and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the tuning and all that kind of stuff. So, but man, it's a tough spot for those guys that are in casual hardcore mode. And oof. I feel for everybody in that same place.
Like we talk about every week, it's just it's just everyone needs to just be honest with themselves as to what they are. You know, and it's hard to do. It's so hard to do. I mean, we went through that with Asparagus Initiative, trying to figure out what we were, and you get some people that want one thing, some people that want another, and you just got to make that choice.
Yep.
Because you leave people frustrated either way if you don't.
Yep. And you have to talk about it openly and be willing to do that. And I think our team has been willing to do that, and we kind of understand the hard spot that we're in. So, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things.
But it's good. So I think Asparagus going to be more heroics, a little bit of bang our heads against some mythic action.
Sure.
About having fun, a good time, and but we're not currently going to raid 3 nights a week like Tainted Core.
No.
Yeah,
we're going to continue our 2-night-a-week schedule, and we're actually going to drop our hours back by 1, which is probably a good thing, because that means that there's going to be a little bit less of a tired factor, especially in that last hour of raiding, where you start to feel.
Oh yeah. Well, every raid team feels that final hour. I mean, come on, that's a push.
Yeah.
That is like, all right.
4 hours a night, 2 nights a week was just, that last hour was just like, oof, not good for the most part. So we're dropping that as well. But that's kind of what's going on with our teams now. What's your new team called, Darius?
The new team is called Convert to Mythic.
There we go.
All right. Yes.
So good luck to you. Good luck to you and the rest of the fellas.
Absolutely.
Going through that stuff, and I wish you all the best, and I hope that you get the progression you need out of it. That's the important thing.
Do it, baby. Do it.
And now I actually have, before we actually start the show part of the show, we have something to announce from Zarman About Town. Yes. He actually emailed the show and said that starting this week, there's going to be a scavenger hunt unlike no other in World of Warcraft, in the history of World of Warcraft. And it's going to be a multi-week contest. I want to tell you about this really quick, and it has some really great prizes as well. So basically, there's going to be an image, a featured image of the week. You go through with your character and recreate that image in-game. Take a selfie or whatever, or take a snap of it, recreate it, and submit it to win sweet, sweet loot. Because as we know,
it's all about the loot. About the loot. You get it done.
Yes, sir.
It's all about the loot. About the loot. You get it done.
Oh, yeah.
all right, that's it. And so every week they're going to be giving away Blizzard gear. They're going to be giving away an iPhone 6.
I feel like that one is a little weird. Like they got all this great Blizzard gear, and then they're like, oh, Jimmy just quit and he left his iPhone here. Just give it away.
Right, exactly. Battle.net balance codes. I don't know what those are, but it's probably for free time and stuff like that, I'm guessing.
It's like the money balance.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
your, like balance,
That's,
right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And they're giving out a grand prize after it's all said and done for a trip for two to BlizzCon 2015. Woo! So, yeah, and there's gonna be a video from Carbot Animations starting tomorrow, Monday.
Which are hilarious by
on
the way.
the launcher to describe what's going on and how you can participate and all that kind of stuff. So, pretty cool.
Should be fun.
I'm liking it. All right, let's move into the raid news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, it's time to check out what's happening in the news for raiders around World of Warcraft. And up first, like I said, we have that Ian Hazzikostas thing that's kind of underneath everything. But up first, we got to catch you guys up with the recent Q1 call to investors from Blizzard Entertainment. And the sad news is we lost 3 million subs. Well, 2.9 million subscriptions to World of Warcraft.
Oh, 2.9. That's way less than the 3 million I was saying.
They
Never
were
mind.
fine. What's everybody freaking out about?
Yeah.
They were
If
fine.
it was 3, it would be a big deal, but it's only 2.9, so that's like nothing.
I thought it was end times, but it sounds fine.
Exactly.
So
we're fine.
So is this a big deal or is it not? Darius, I'm going to throw to you right now.
No, not really. We saw a huge spike in subscribers when Warlords came out. A huge spike.
Right.
And then we're basically this number puts us back at that pre-spike level.
A little bit ahead of it, actually.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we'll never get back to the 12.5 million subscribers that they had, you know, in Wrath and whatnot. But it's fine. Like we're at 7.5 million subscribers still. That's still a pretty healthy amount of subscribers. You know, they're still doing all right. And as our good friend Solar Flay told us a couple weeks ago, I think, or maybe it was last week, that Blizzard has more active subscribers now than they've ever had in the past, including Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm and things like that. Like, it's just because WoW isn't their number one, subscriber bringer, I guess you could say, anymore, doesn't mean Blizzard is hurting or anything like that.
Right.
And more money for Blizzard means more money for all their games.
They did say Hearthstone broke 30 million players. And with Heroes of the Storm, that's huge right now. And with all the other games, I mean, the company is doing fine. It's just WoW took a hit.
They're bringing in revenue one way or the other. So
They are going ham on the core. Big time. They absolutely are.
Right. Well, and I mean, I don't think that anybody here expected for that 2.5 million spike that they had right before Warlords to stay. Did you, Coltrane?
Well, kind of an interesting thing. I saw a lot of tweets from Ghostcrawler about this, right? So what I find hilarious is when Ghostcrawler was with Blizzard, everyone like hated Ghostcrawler, right? They're like, oh, you're an idiot and you don't know what you're doing and blah, blah, blah. And now that he's left Blizz and joined Riot Games, Now everyone's like, it was so much better with Ghostcrawler. We love Ghostcrawler. Now he's like the Messiah, and everyone loves themselves some Ghostcrawler.
Right.
So they clearly, the fans were so upset. Blizzard has no idea what they're doing. Let's turn to Ghostcrawler because he knows, right? Because we've always loved him for all these years.
Yes, since day one.
Right, since day one. So Ghostcrawler, and we're big fans of Ghostcrawler. He's been we love him on the show.
Yep.
He made a point, and he basically said, he goes, listen, there are the hardcore fans, right? There's us, there's the foundation, but we're going to stick around. We're going to keep doing it. As long as we're having a good time, we're good. And there were other fans that hop in, check out the new content, and then hop out.
Right.
And that's kind of how, in a weird way, kind of how MMOs kind of go. You know what I mean? I mean, he even said, he goes, if I were to make my own MMO, and he said, I'm not, by the way, I would be creating more episodic content. Because there's a big group of players that just want to get in, check out the new stuff, and then get out.
Right.
And then when the new expansion hits or a new big patch, they'll get in, check out the new stuff, and then get out.
Right.
So I think everyone is like freaking out about like, well, they need to find a way to retain these people. And that's 3 million in 3 months. Now, I will admit, 3 million drop is pretty quick.
Big.
Whoa, it's not 3 million.
I'm sorry, 2.9.
2.9.
Yeah.
You're right. Thank you. You're right. that is a pretty big drop that happened pretty quickly. But I think that it's just, these are people that just want to get in, check out the new content, and then get out. Yep. You know what I mean? So that's what Ghostcrawler's point was.
And I think what ended up happening was with Warlords, it just so happened that they, for the fourth quarter, for the end of last year, they started off the Warlords just so that they could retain those people until the end of the year, right before they started falling off. It's like they had a month of game time essentially or so. And then it was the end of the year. And, oh, look, guess what happened? They're still there for a little bit, but they're going to trail off. And if you look at the last year and a half, really, there has been a pretty steady line other than that spike up. Right around 7 to 7.5 million subscribers for the last year and a half. It's been that way. So it's been fairly steady except for one spike up. So don't worry about the drop off when that happens. I don't think you can. However, technically 2.9 million subscribers left of their own accord, but then Blizzard decided to ban 100,000. So we're down 3 million, guys. Let's all panic now.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
WoW's dead.
WoW's done.
WoW's dead.
Oh, no. So now we're at the 3. We're at the 3 million.
We're solidly 3 now because Blizzard banned 100,000 folks. And Darius, this happens from time to time, right? They do this.
Shut it down. Yep.
So why do they do this? What's going on?
So they do ban waves because it's easier to do them all at once, and it gets people. You get like if you're constantly botting, for the gold farmers, things like that. You don't know when the next big ban wave is coming, and it's it prevents you from kind of getting banned every day or whatever, and opening new accounts and stuff like that. But I guess Warlords has had a huge problem with bots in BGs. And a lot of people have stopped running BGs and doing things like that because the bots are so bad. So they went out and did this. Now there's speculation, and I've been reading a lot about this on Reddit, that what actually prompted this was Blizzard has been fighting a court battle in Europe, I think in Germany specifically, against a specific bot called Honor Buddy, and they've been fighting back and forth, and finally, the people that created Honor Buddy won the final appeal that went as high as it could in the courts there. And they won, saying Blizzard can't shut them down. It can't force them to pay. It can't do anything. And within hours of that ruling, Blizzard then banned about 100,000 WoW players. And it was likely that it was a response to the fact that they knew that people were doing this for a long time. They've known about it. And they just, because they lost this court battle, they then just banned everybody that was using it. And that was their kind of retaliation for that.
Wow.
That is retaliation.
A lot of it, from also what I'm reading, is a lot of raiders, not just BG bots, but raiders, people that were using bots to raid for them, which is kind of gross to think about.
And Bashiak said that botting programs are basically ones that will make your character do actions without you doing them physically on the keyboard. And that's what they're talking about when they're talking about any bot program whatsoever. It's anything that's doing the work for you without you having to actually think about it or whatever. It's not macros. It's much more than macros. It's these programs that do all these other things. And we are seeing reports in the chat room that they are saying it could be up to 300,000 people that they did. It's more than 100,000 folks, though. And I don't know if Blizzard came out with an actual number or not. I didn't see one.
Yeah, speculation is anywhere from 100,000 to 10% of active subscribers. So,
right.
Wow.
And people are seeing in the chat room too. They see a lot of bots in LFR, or they're just really bad raiders. It could be that too. Just consider that.
Right.
Maybe they're not bots. They're just standing in the fight.
Right. They're just standing there and then moving on to the next boss as soon as that happens.
Right. Exactly. But it's a funny thing. These things happen every once in a while. The three of us, we did not get banned. We're not cheating. So, we didn't get banned. So that's good. But the thing that I find just interesting is I'm reading all these threads and talking to a lot of people, and they're like, well, I bought it, but I did it for good, not for bad. Like I was like trying to see if I could do it. And,
right.
Oh, I was doing it to help out my buddy. I'm like, yeah, but it's still against the terms of service. You're still cheating. Yeah. That's still not good.
Yeah.
So
remember that big chunk of text that you said accept to? Maybe you should read that.
Yeah.
Right.
It basically says
exactly.
no cheating. No cheating.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
I'm always kind of like, taken aback by the numbers of when this happens, but they do it in these large bands, these large chunks. So it's not totally unexpected. It's just always like, whoa, you did a lot of damage there.
And I saw some posts on Twitter. They're like, well, GG Blizz, you just lost yourself another subscriber. I'm like, but you were cheating.
Right.
Like like you got banned. And now you're mad at Blizz for getting caught.
Right.
And you gotta think, that if you've got all these people that are botting, especially the ones that are doing BGs or, ruining economies by botting and herbs and things like that, like how many people have unsubscribed because they have had, like, they're detracting from the enjoyment that they're having because of the botters.
Yeah. And especially with PvP, I know that's always a big deal. The botters and stuff like that really throw off gameplay. And so that's a great reason actually to ban a bunch of folks. I know that some were probably banned because they use something like smooth ping, which is supposed to help your computer actually get through to the servers better. Darius, what's up with smooth ping and what happens? Why do they get banned sometimes?
It seems like every time they do these big sweeping bans that people get caught up in this, and smooth ping is that it's a program that allows you to basically miss some of the hops that your internet would take from you to the data center where the WoW servers are stored. So smooth ping sets up in a data center either at the same one or next to it, or really close or something like that. So what happens though is you've got 10, 15, 20, even 100 people all connected via what to Blizzard looks like the same IP address to the WoW servers. And if someone that's also in that 100 with you is botting, or multiple people, they might just ban everyone that connects from that IP. And that happens every once in a while where people get caught up in that and get banned even though they're not actually doing anything.
Right.
And that's the thing. Out of all those people, I'm sure, and the chat room is saying it too, that there are people here who are innocent, that were innocently banned.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And for those, I apologize. Like, that's awful. That's terrible. But I don't know. There was a post I remember on the last wave ban where some guy was like, this is outrageous. I've done nothing wrong. And all this convincing stuff about how innocent he is. And then a GM, wrote something. He was like, well, look, we have you doing this and this and this and this. And here's the screenshots. He's like, well, okay, I was doing that.
Right.
Come on. Right. So I don't know.
And to just let you guys know, this is not a perma ban. This is a 6-month ban, which means that they won't be able to raid all the 6.2 stuff until it's way older. So
so, I mean, some people are getting 72 hours, some are getting 6 months. People that have done it multiple times are getting permanent bans. But yeah, it's all over there. It's funny again reading Reddit and seeing the posts. You see all these people post are like, oh, I didn't get banned, but 8 people on my raid team got banned, or something like that. They're like, man, my whole raid, like, it's raid teams, not just PvP.
Yeah,
it's people that were botting to raid, and it's frustrating.
It threw off a lot of raid teams from what I saw on Twitter. I mean, it was throwing off a lot of folks. So definitely.
And then people like Cole said, people are getting mad at Blizzard for banning their raid mates.
Right.
But they were mad at them for cheating.
Right. That's the thing. That's what drives me crazy. It's like, well, they were cheating. Like we didn't get banned because we're not, using smooth ping, or we're not, botting, or we're not. And it's very simple. If you don't want to get banned, don't do these things. Right. And the chat room is saying too that there are no innocent. They gather intelligence for weeks on these people. And that's a definite possibility as well.
Weeks and months and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, it's very simple. If you don't want to get banned, just don't do that stuff. Don't bot. Don't do, automated whatever. Don't use smooth ping. Don't do this stuff. Play the game like everybody else does, and you log in and you've got no advantage.
Right.
Don't use smooth ping because your ping goes to some other center. That's fine. That happens to me, and it happens to Zug, and it happens to everybody else. So just, play the game how you're supposed to play it, and you won't get banned.
Right. Yeah.
But, don't get mad at Blizz for it. No. So I don't know.
No.
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So let's talk about the Ian Hazzikostas interview a little bit, because this was actually a pretty cool article. It was in Gamesbeat. And he said a bunch of interesting things, and he was talking about not only rating, but he was talking about, I don't even know. I mean, just everything about 6.2 for sure. And kind of what the plan has been for Warlords all along. And guys, Coltrane, how about you first? Was there something cool that you saw in this article that you would like to talk about first?
Well, it was kind of stuff. Well, there was, and it was quite a bit in the interview, and it was a great interview. Mm-hmm. I think that is something we kind of brought up earlier about the Mythic stuff, that he does wish that we could have that same flexible system. But, with the tuning and what Mythic is supposed to be. We had Salute Bag on, and Salute was saying that Mythic content is a lot harder than heroic content. One thing that was kind of neat about what Ian was talking about too is this cross-server stuff. He's seeing a lot more raid teams are raiding now and getting together, and that is pretty amazing tech that I can have a buddy on another server. We can get together and all raid together. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but it was mainly about, that's what I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and like we were talking about before, I mean, I wonder, the thing that I really wonder is, I wonder how many people, how many teams are affected by the new Mythic change. Those guys that are the casual hardcore, those guys that are the ones that are, blowing through heroics pretty well, pretty easily, and trying to get into Mythic and having a hard time because of schedules or because of whatever reason, because they only have 17 people. And, whatever the case may be, recruiting is always kind of a nightmare. So I just wonder how many of those groups are being affected, or how many people are being affected by that one switch. And that's been kind of my thought this whole week. It's been like, I wonder how many people are feeling the pain of Warlords Mythic right now. So I don't know.
I think a lot, and we've seen that. We've seen a lot of raid teams break up.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of this kind of stuff going on. The thing about Mythic is, I think it's a lot harder than a lot of people expected. Yeah. And you can't help but want to go for the top. We want to summit that peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the airy peak. And you see it and like, well, we're going to go Mythic. We want to be a Mythic team. Mm-hmm. And you get up there and they're like, wow, this is really hard. This is really difficult. This is a lot harder than heroic Siege of Orgrimmar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is going to take us some time, fellas. And then the guys are like, I don't want to spend time on it. I just want to blast through it. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, Blizzard, I thought Blizzard was pretty well up front as to how Mythic was going to be beforehand. They said it's going to be tuned for 20 people. It's going to be more difficult than Heroic. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I remember them saying all these things when they announced Warlords. And now it seems like a lot of people are surprised that Mythic is hard.
We never believe the devs when they first say something. Come on!
And that's how human beings work. Like, somebody says, don't touch that hot kettle. Right. Don't you touch that, and you have to touch it. And then it's not till you burn your hand that you realize, well, I shouldn't have touched that. Even though I was told You know,
Right.
we have to experience it ourselves. That's just how human beings work. You can't tell us something. We don't believe it till we see it, till we feel it, you
Right.
know?
And a lot of people are feeling it right now. So-
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man. And then there were other things like this really ranged all over the place, this whole thing. Darius, was there anything that you saw that you wanted to bring up at all from the article? Because it was pretty cool.
No, not really. I mean, the big thing that he talked about was the whole like mythic system, and I think he's just speaking candidly when he says he wishes there was a way to make it flexible. I don't think that's Blizzard saying we're going to make mythic flexible.
No, I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest problem with it, is that you can't make it flexible, and I don't think you should, to a certain extent. And it puts everybody in kind of a weird place. But
yeah.
And I know that everybody's looking forward to 6.2 with Mythic Dungeons. I know that they are. I'm going to skip down just a little bit with bonus event weekends and stuff, because they're creating. Not only are they doing the Mythic Dungeon system, which I think will be cool. I don't know how used it'll be. You know, once people get their gear caught up and stuff like that, I think that'll go back to
It'll be on my mage, let me tell you. Gear up like crazy.
Every day on your mage.
Oh my gosh.
And every day on my shaman.
That's right.
Until they get the gear, and then it's like, oh, done.
Hell yeah. But that's how dungeons are anyway, though, really. We
Right.
do them all like crazy at the beginning, and we get our gear, we move on until we have an alt. So
Exactly.
not much of a big change.
Well, yeah, but they're doing these bonus event weekends, and we've kind of talked about them a little bit with time walking weekends. But they're also going to have pet battles, battlegrounds, and arenas, and they're also going to be doing something with Mythic Dungeons, where if you do like 2 Mythic Dungeons, you'll get heroic loot. You'll get heroic Hellfire Citadel loot, which is cool.
Yeah, this
That's
is
right.
going to be fun.
So
That's right.
But
More
you got
loot, baby.
But you got to go through Mythic Dungeons, and if they're anything like Mythic Raids, look out. Could be a little tough. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
People are saying, I mean, he said patch 6.2 is going to be one of the largest content patches ever released.
I know.
So that's good. We're going to have a lot of stuff going, and that's good. We have those fans. They come in, they check out the new stuff, then they leave. Well, here
Right.
comes some more new stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we might see another bump.
And a lot of new stuff. I mean, if this is the biggest content patch, I mean, we've seen some huge content patches drop, and now we have the largest one with the shipyard and all that kind of stuff that's going on. So I don't know. There should be something for everybody.
Yeah.
I just really want more jukebox songs. That's all.
You wait, hold on a sec. You want to be gotta break that stuff out when you can.
I gotta say one quick thing. I liked it that he did also comment on the social side of it. He said, sitting in town for an hour trying to find a tank in trade chat to go and do a dungeon was inconvenient, but it allowed you to make stronger social bonds. So things like garrisons, things like these dungeon finders has kind of made it more of a solo experience. And we've talked about this in the past on the show. So at least, they're aware of it. They know that, some people are like, Warlords is the most solo, I'm all by myself, expansion ever, So it's kind of a funny thing, and that's what Blizzard does. They're going to try some different things. Well, you know what I mean?
And that's why they brought in the looking for group system and something more, so you can make those easier connections, but still hopefully build something out of it. Or some people can anyway, build a little bit more out of it. Who knows?
Right.
It's better than just kind of randomly just choosing folks. So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I know that also this last week and Monday, tomorrow, there's going to be a lot more raid testing in the works for patch 6.2. Speaking of new content, and they are testing some mythic stuff this time around. So that's nice.
That's always cool to see. And the Archimon fight. Have you seen the Archimon fight yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that.
Ooh, baby.
What's going on with that fight?
Spoilers.
Baby.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of spoilers. I mean, we're not talking about strats. We're not talking about strats. We're just talking about abilities and what we see, right?
Ooh.
So what happens in this fight? I mean,
I'm going to leave this one to Darius so he
come
can
on.
get yelled at.
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't want to get yelled at.
Tell me about it. I haven't seen it yet. Come on. Darius, tell me what's going on.
Well, let's just say he's got a few friends that show up for the fight.
Friends.
That that maybe you're not expecting. I'll just say that. I don't want to spoil anything because people get angry.
That's true. That's probably good. Some friends show up for him. Some friends show up for us.
Are they from this expansion or expansions past? Or
yes.
Or both.
Yes.
Yes. It is PTR stuff. So anyone and okay, look, we're just gonna admit it. It's Hogger. All right. Hogger shows up.
Oh, he comes back.
Yeah, Rhett said it in the chat room, so he spoiled it.
Yep,
Hogger makes a triumphant return.
And Snape kills Grom.
The fight itself looks awesome. The fight looks great. There's a whole portal. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's, of course, a lot of green stuff. By the way, Blizzard, just a quick heads up on these raid fights, just to the art team. I'm talking to the art team. I'm asking you to not have a green floor and then the boss does abilities that is green fire. Meanwhile, the warlocks who've done the class quest are launching their green fire.
Right.
So it's a lot of green. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
I was watching a lot of these raids and they're like, man, that's like impossible to see. Because it's like, but I don't know. I've noticed it. It's like even on a heroic Blackhand, that first phase, you've got a red floor and then red bombs.
I know.
And then on some of these fights, you've got a purple floor and then like a purple bad liquid stuff. Like white, purple on purple and red on red and green on green.
They're trying to coordinate, man. They're trying to coordinate.
We need contrast.
I think contrast would be good.
No, there needs to be a nice accent wall of like a different color. Really tie the whole place together.
We are going to be the interior decorators of all the raids.
Right. I mean, I get it. If you've got a green wall, then fine. You need a couple of green, accent pillows to go with the wall. Right. But the whole room doesn't need to be green.
No.
I'm just saying that it
like an orange or a blue, perhaps. Blue would work out really well.
Yeah. But this even happened on that one boss with the maze thing where you got to go through the maze. Remember? They actually changed the color. So this has been a constant thing. So I'm just saying for raiders, that doesn't make an encounter more interesting when you physically cannot see, know.
Especially like Melee, where all you see is green and boss butt, and you can't see anything else.
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm just saying, there's a lot of green, and with these warlocks, with their green fire quests, there's just green everywhere.
So raiders out there, if you don't already have the add-on GTFO, then you should probably get that. Because that will tell you when you should GTFO.
Right. Exactly.
Which green is good green.
That's right. I'm just saying. Something I noticed.
What's the good green here? Is there good green? I don't know.
Well, Kermit is good green.
Yeah, he's
it's
got
not
a good
easy
green.
being green.
That's right. BC Walker said even Kermit says it's too much green. So when Kermit is phoning this in, then we got trouble. But the fights themselves look great. The art team did a bang-up job, except for that green on green.
Right.
But everything else, I think, looks really cool. And Archimon looks like one heck of a final boss.
Well, now
Blizzard's really been knocking out of the park with these end bosses, man.
Right.
These end bosses are insane. Blackhand, he's a real pain in the rump. And Archimon looks no different. So should be cool.
Oh yeah, and then Mr. BC Walker said good green equals druid heals. So you have druid heals, warlock shooting their green fire. You got the green fire on the ground. Plus, everything's green. So everything's green.
That's a lot of
great. Great.
That's a lot of green.
Thanks, Blizz.
Thanks, Blizz. Jeez Louise.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now with Blackhand, heroic Blackhand.
My gosh, this is unbelievable.
This is unbelievable, guys. So Ragwin, who is always kind of one of the DKs to do everything by himself, the solo, bosses before everybody else even thinks about it, went in with a group of 10 DKs and downed heroic Blackhand. And for that, I think that applause is in order.
It's insane.
It's pretty good. There's a group out there of 5 guys clearing heroic.
Yeah. I know they cleared all the normals.
BlackRock. Yeah, they cleared normals, and they've cleared, I think, 8 of 10 in heroic as well. And they're working on this and one other.
Right.
But man, these guys are crazy.
I think the key takeaway is that we need new content soon because these guys are getting bored.
But this is what they do, though. We've seen this name for years.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So he's been rocking this stuff. This is kind of his thing and what he does.
Right.
And it's just amazing to see, man. I mean, Nerf blood DKs. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
We've been
But,
saying that for 5 years.
I know, right?
Kids.
I know.
No, it's great. That self-healing is insane.
But I think it was 9 DKs and one that was either Frost or Unholy. I'm not sure, but I saw 9 DKs, 9 blood DKs, and one
insane.
other one. So it's
Guys
just
are nuts.
it was crazy.
Chat room's also saying that monk heels are also green.
Oh,
So-
monk heels. They're
More
jade.
kind of a jade. Yeah.
They're more
I'm
of
just
a
saying-
bluey green.
If you're in that art department, literally just take a step back. Just take a step back and just watch these fights and be like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they got a point there a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
we can adjust the hue a
Right.
bit.
Right. Or make it some sort of contrasty color. That would be that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Just saying.
Accent walls. Liz.
Exactly. I get it. Couple
Accent
of
walls.
pillows. Right.
Right. Hey, and if you another story, if you weren't feeling old before, maybe you will now. Because Leeroy Jenkins, that wonderful moment, is now 10 years old. 10 years old.
Yes.
Oh. Well, yeah, actually, I'll give him a big applause
Absolutely.
because that was a great moment in WoW history. And now we're celebrating its 10th anniversary. Oof. At least
I actually got to meet him at BlizzCon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, it was old
Right.
Leeroy Jenkins. So I think that was at the very first BlizzCon I think I was at, and he was there. But that's like an iconic moment, you know what I mean? And I had a buddy I used to work with, and he sent me this. He goes, "This is the only thing I've ever seen in WoW, and it turns 10 years today." You couldn't believe it. And the video, it still holds up, man. You watch that today, it still holds up.
Yep, we have
It's
a
really great
we
to
have a 33.3, of course, repeating, of course,
Repeating, of
percent.
course.
Yeah, chance of.
Exactly. It's a
And
classic moment.
and as it turned out, that Leeroy Jenkins was also in the script for the Warcraft movie that will be coming out next year. He was in the original script for it as like one of the Stormwind guards that rushes off into battle and instantly dies.
Right. Now we don't know if he's in the final script. He was in the original script.
Right.
So we don't know if he's in the final film.
All we saw was this line that said, "Jenkins, get back here!" Goes off and dies.
That would be amazing.
I
Oh
think
my
that's
god.
hilarious. I think
That
that's
would be
hilarious.
incredible.
Man, I don't know. Also about the Warcraft movie, it came out this week that it might actually be a trilogy. It could be. There could be more than one Warcraft movie. They're setting themselves up for having more than one, which I think is commonplace now, isn't it, Colt?
Well, it all depends on the box office. I mean, frankly, it comes down to the bottom dollar.
Right.
Like, we have these dreams and like, oh, it'll be a trilogy and it'll be amazing. But if the first movie doesn't make any money, then Hollywood's not going to spend any money to make a sequel and a third one. So, but judging from what we've seen so far, with the film being delayed, Universal liking the film, Legendary liking the film, the new opening weekend for it, things seem to be going well. So the Universal seems to like the movie, so that's good news. So I don't know, but it all depends on how well it does. Like, and I hate to say it, like we all like to talk about films and the art and the artistry and all that kind of stuff. But if it doesn't make any money, then they're not going to invest another, $100 million to make a sequel. So I hope it's a trilogy, but that depends on all of us going to the theater on opening weekend to go see it. So
Make sure to go see it there, guys.
that's right.
See
That's
it
right.
twice.
I hadn't planned on seeing it. I'm just not into Warcraft.
I'm just really not
Right.
into. I just hate
Yeah.
movies.
Right. Definitely. Exactly.
I'm afraid of going into a dark theater. I'm scared of the dark. I can't do it.
So we'll see. I hope it is. I hope a trilogy would be fantastic. Obviously, the lore is great, and where they're starting this one, there's so far that they can go. It's a fantastic foundation for a trilogy. So it's got to make that money. It's got to make that cash. That's why we see a lot of sequels. That's why we see a lot of prequels.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of original stuff these days because these big blockbusters, it's kind of, in the end, it's kind of about making that money. At the end, so.
Yeah. And then they have like a couple of projects where they go, okay, fine, we'll try something a little bit new because it's going to be cheap and cheap to produce, like a really good indie script or something like that.
Right.
You go out and make that, and then they say, yep, didn't make any money. We'll stick with the big ones.
That's right.
As someone once said, it's all about the loot.
That's right.
yes,
That's
we
right.
did.
It's all about the loot. About the loot. You get it done.
Oh, yes.
It's all about the loot. About the loot. You get it done.
Certainly is.
It's all about the loot. About the loot. You get it done.
Get it one more time.
It's all about the loot. About the loot. It's pull.
Yeah.
So there. I don't know.
It is.
All right. Well, we've got a question in the mailbag. We've kind of already talked about it a little bit, but let's get to it.
We've got mail.
We do. And if you have a question about anything for us about rating or anything else, just let us know and we'll try to answer it on the show. You can email us at converttoraid@gmail.com, or you can call our raid line 612-787-RAID. And Coltrane, can you help us out with this one, please?
Sure. This is from Kaya, Balanced Druid on Khadgar. My raid team is at a point where we have 9 out of 10 bosses in Heroic on farm. We killed Blast Furnace on our second week attempting the fight, and now we're working on Phase 2 Blackhand. Good luck. We are looking into the near future and want to start progression into Mythic. Heroic is getting to a point where gear is not needed and it's becoming trivial and boring. The issue we have is that we only have a group of 17. We've been trying to recruit heavily for a few weeks now, but haven't had any luck. Our server is kind of dead. There are only 2 guilds that are 8 out of 10 Mythic, and they seem to hog all of the Mythic players on our server. Good players who want to do Mythic aren't willing to join a guild that isn't doing Mythic yet. We have tried all of the tools, such as guild recruitment forums, open raid, etc. All of this could be solved if Mythic were flex, or could be done across server. We want to continue to be challenged by current content and don't just want to farm raids for alts. Thanks for doing the show. Look forward to every week. By the way, I ran into a player named Herkimer in a pug the other day, and he claims to have never listened to CTR.
Thank you for never listening to CTR. No.
Right, yes. The Herkimer. So
The
someone
Herkimer!
actually chose that name. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
cool. So we're seeing the same issues. Okay, so now, Darius, you're in a new team, and how are you doing the recruiting? What's going on with, how are you approaching finding folks for your team, I guess?
I mean, it's the same kind of stuff as this guy, and it's just as frustrating. You know, we're using the forums, we're using in-game, we're contacting friends, all that kind of stuff to try to recruit, but it's the same kind of situation. It's hard to recruit Mythic players when you haven't done Mythic content. It's hard to recruit Mythic players when there are so few guilds out there now. Like but not few guilds. There's too many guilds rather, and not enough people who can do that kind of content.
Right.
I mean, it's a tough situation, and I have yet to figure out a way to solve it.
Right.
Other than doing exactly what they're doing and hoping that someone sees it that's of that caliber. I mean, there's also, we've talked about with the new team taking a chance on people that might not be exactly what you want, but maybe they will be. I mean, we had a good example of that in Asparagus Initiative. We had a hunter, Envin, and he was. We took a slight chance on him, and I don't think he had done much heroic content. I think this was Siege of Orgrimmar when we picked him up, and now he's one of the best hunters I've ever seen.
Right.
It happens. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to take that slight chance, and sometimes it doesn't pan out, and sometimes it does. So
yeah. Sometimes you do have to take a chance and try to develop new players to be able to go through that content and stuff like that. And that is the Mythic problem right now. And I don't know, Coltrane, is there a solution for heroic teams right now that are, they want to get into Mythic, but maybe it's not going to work for them? I mean, is there a solution on that end of things? Because I don't know.
I mean, I think it's once you've cleared heroic Blackhand, in the whole place again and again and again, and no one in your team needs heroic loot anymore. Yeah. Everyone's geared to the teeth. There's nothing but to wait till 6.2 or just run alts. You know what I mean? I mean, we're talking about an Asparagus. Well, what if we did a night where everybody switched roles? You're usually a tank. Well, now go heals. Heals, now you tank. DPS, now you do more DPS. But, more melee or range.
Right. Well,
something to kind of change it up.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do. That's when you have to kind of get creative to try and keep things interesting. Heading into the new content with 6.2.
And it's really tough because right now we're still going on a 2-night-a-week schedule. I mean, we've dropped our hours a little bit, which is going to help, I think, overall. But I do feel like You know, it's after you've cleared heroic, and if you're struggling to make it into mythic, that if you're like a 2-night-a-week raid team like we are, dropping it down to 1 night a week, it seems like a step back in a lot of ways. And it seems like that might be the only thing to do if we can't get into mythic in the first place. You know,
Right.
I mean, if we're really struggling on bosses and whatnot, going those 2 nights a week is going to be frustrating if we can't even get in the door. So
Yeah, I think ultimately this will be a good thing for the WoW community. Right now it's really hard because we have all of these raid teams that in previous expansions were able to do some heroic and push a little bit of heroic and things like that, do it on 10-man, 25-man, whatever it was. But now we've got teams that are stuck in that middle, and they've got 4 or 5 people on their team that might be mythic quality raiders and 4 or 5 people or more that aren't. So you've got all these really good raiders that are just spread out amongst all of these raid teams, and eventually we're gonna get back to that balance where teams start figuring out what they actually are, what they really are, and I think we'll start seeing things even out. You know,
yeah,
we'll get the teams that just can't do mythic raiding. You know, they no longer get frustrated in trying to do that, trying to get the 20 people, and then you know the ones that want to do mythic, you know, they go off and they form a team with other people from other teams that want to do mythic, and we end up with this equilibrium. Yeah. But right now we're stuck in this too many raid teams, not enough raiders, or what seems like not enough raiders situation when everyone's just spread real thin.
I wonder if it's going to kind of go back to how it was, you know, in the old school days. Like I remember in Burning Crusade, I would be in Orgrimmar, right? And I look over and I see this guy, and he's got this amazing gear. And I was like, man, he looks awesome. I'd love to look like him, but he's doing that hardcore raiding. Mm-hmm. You know, he's doing that like mythic raiding. And I know that that's super hardcore, and I probably won't be able to do that. And with my schedule, like, you know, with work, I won't have the time to do that. So I'm cool with him looking awesome because I won't be able to do that, and I'm okay with that. Maybe that's how the mindset might shift back to that in the future, that we might look at this hardcore stuff and be like, oh, well, that's mythic. Well, I don't have time to do, you know, 3 nights a week like Tainted Core, not 4, you know, 3 nights a week, Darius. And, you know, but it might get to that mentality of that's that mythic stuff. You know what I mean? And that's reserved for the more hardcore players. And then maybe we'll look at them in awe and not be like, oh, I should get that too. Because like right now, we want to do mythic, but we don't have the time or the schedule for it. And now we're all just getting frustrated. So maybe in a weird way, the mindset, maybe raiding, it's kind of been a little bit too easy for a little while. You know what I mean? And now it's getting back to that kind of old school. The high-end stuff is really high-end, right? You know, and mentally as players, we might get back into that old school mindset.
But it's been, I mean, it's been a good 3-4 years since we've seen this type of progression that we can do. So I mean, switching back to it is kind of it seems contrary in a lot of ways, and I know that a lot of people are like, but I know that I can go through heroic on a regular schedule and be just fine, and then I know that I want to push myself to that next level. What can I do? And really the only thing is go more days a week right now. I mean, that's the logical step, is to actually invest more into the game instead of well, don't worry about it, gear will even out, and you don't actually have to take 20 people. You can take 19.
Yeah, and that was that old school mentality. Yeah. I knew that I could do it, but I had to make the commitment. I had to change my schedule if I really wanted it. Then I had to make the change. So that's kind of, we're getting kind of back to that.
Yeah, and the only thing that would make sense, I mean, from my perspective on how I could manage to push content on my schedule that Blizz could come up with would be like 10-man mythic. But I realize that that's not a perfect world either, because I think that having those 20 guys in there means that you can really tailor encounters to however you want, really. If you're limited to 10 people, all of a sudden you realize that you don't have those other classes, or you don't have every class in that raid instance, so you might not be able to do stuff the way that you wanted to.
Exactly. That was the tuning balance problem that they had in the past.
Right.
Now, Kiri CTR in our chat room said, Mythic won't work as flex. And that has to do with the balancing. But what about cross-realm? Maybe cross-realm Mythic should be enabled. But
But then I think one of the concerns there is that it would screw up ranking for servers and
the high end teams and all that kind of stuff,
and for achievements and all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of one of those things. I mean, maybe they unlock cross server after a month.
Oh, that's interesting,
or something like that.
Right.
At a certain time.
I'm just glad that we're having this conversation right now. Maybe this content isn't for me conversation, because I feel like the last couple of years, the conversation has been, I can do LFR. Where's my heroic mythic loot? Like,
right.
That's what we were talking about for so long. People felt like, well, I only have 1 hour to log in. Why am I not getting the same loot as everybody else? Mm-hmm. And that was the conversation. I feel like this is a much more productive conversation to say, for people to be honest with themselves and say, I don't have the time to commit to that. So I need to be honest and say, I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that. And heroic is plenty. I mean, the heroic fights are definitely hard. And if that's all that can be done, that's all that can be done.
Yeah. It's just a hard realization for a lot of people that are good players, that are really good players, that don't have the time to commit to raiding. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter whether you're just doing LFR or whether you are in normals and heroics and can't go any further than that. It's all part of the same conversation. It's, how can I do this on a limited schedule? And sometimes the answer is you can't.
Yeah, I mean, Mythic is there, but it's not there for everyone. It's there for the top 10%, the top 1%. That's why there are 3 other raid tiers now.
That's a difficult thing to go through, though. I mean, one of the reasons why we have Flex in the first place is that Blizzard wanted more people to experience the content more than ever before, and so now we're saying, oh, you can experience the content, you can see the story, but you can't see all of the mechanics that we came up with for the hardest of the hardcore because you don't have time. So that's the new conversation, right? It's like,
well, I guess, but that's that kind of more old school.
I know.
That's how it should be in a way. Like if you want to do the best of the best stuff, then you got to make the time to do the best of the best stuff.
Exactly.
But you're right. But this is like steering a cruise ship here.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No, I understand.
This is going to take a while to get everybody kind of back into that, mentality. That's not going to be easy at all.
No. But I mean, it's kind of an interesting conversation. It's kind of a bummer for some folks, especially for folks like us that are more casual schedule, yet, pretty good players, pretty good to very good players that want to do more. So unfortunately, we don't have an answer for you on this question, Kaya. We don't really have a great answer for you because I think a lot of people are feeling it.
Yeah.
Other than it'll even out sooner or later. Which is
that's true. Just with really time. Just with time.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I'll tell you one thing that we no longer hear, by the way, is raiding in WoW is so easy. I don't hear that anymore.
No.
Do you remember that? Remember we used to hear that all the time? Like, oh, that's for babies. Like raiding in WoW is so easy. Right. Like I remember hearing that all the time.
Well, and there are still going to be those people. I mean, but they haven't played the game in years. They don't know.
Oh, have you defeated Mythic Blackhand? Oh, no. Right. Okay, all right. Like you want some hard raiding? You go up against Mythic Blackhand. We'll see how you do.
Or those or those PvPers that only know PvP and they haven't been raiding in a while, and then they go, well, we do have to coordinate 20 people here. This is not like super easy stuff. This is not like a regular dungeon or something.
Right.
I don't know. So I don't know. Unfortunately, that's where we're gonna have to leave it with that question. So Kaya, very sorry that we didn't answer your question, but
I do like the conversation. I like how Darius said that. I like we're steering this cruise ship. Yeah. We're making some turns, but I think it's good. I think it's a good direction.
Yeah.
Possible.
And I do wonder about the future of raiding, especially when it comes to the casual hardcore, what that means for the game. And there are some concerns that I have personally about that for my own play and for that group of people that are kind of shifting in and out. So it's going to be an interesting thing to kind of watch that go through its process, I guess. And we'll try to stay on top of that. And if you guys have something to add to this conversation, please let us know. You can email us. You can call the raid line. You can do all those different things, and we'll get to all that information in just a second. But right now, we're gonna give a little shout out to those guys that gave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. And Darius, it looks like you did your job this week, so congratulations.
I always do my job. What are you talking about?
So who do we have to thank?
We've got Doc712, Towson, maybe? Cryonis, Matt Danger, and Solomani.
It's great to hear you butcher people's names.
Yeah,
I know.
great.
Well, at least I didn't insult all gnomes at the beginning of the show. So.
Well, yeah. Hey, we're done with Gnome Appreciation Month.
That's right. Back to basics.
Right.
They're back on their lowest man on the totem pole. Literally.
The hunting grounds is open.
Right. Any shout outs this week, fellas?
I got a random one here. I got a shout out to Polyzard. I was on my mage, right? I'm doing my, level them up and I'm getting them to 100. And I'm doing the old Apexis stuff. And all of a sudden, Polyzard comes up to me and he gives me some mana biscuits or some mana pudding. And he says, it's all about the loot, Mr. Mage. And I was like, oh, hey, all right. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was awesome. So big shout out to him. Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody who is carrying my shaman in rating for last week and weeks to come, thank you guys.
Yes,
I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure Coltrane's mage really appreciates it as well.
Absolutely.
So, and we cannot do this show without you guys. Thanks, chat room, by the way. Big shout out to the chat room. They've been having a great conversation in there, and
awesome.
it's been really cool to kind of see your thoughts on things. So we cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for all the feedback, for the questions, for the chat and chat room. And please feel free to join in on these conversations as we have them at any time. And I'll tell you how to do that right after I bail on the music.
What, you're just going to bail out?
Just going to bail out, and I'm going to play. Let's do this one. There we go.
Well, all right.
You can email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttoraid or individually. Right, Coltrane?
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane. And you can follow Darius at BoardMine.
That is correct. And make sure to join the Bazooba Guabo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com, where we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders. We have our audios, our videos, all the guild stuff over there as well. It's all at converttoraid.com. Our live feed and video show is also on gamebreaker.tv. Make sure to watch, like, comment, YouTube things, and we're also live streaming on alphageekradio.com for those guys that want to listen to us live through their mobile device or on Roku or whatever. The audio show is also available on Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of different other places and things, because this is the internet. It is.
That's what we do these days.
That's right. Showcasing the internet for everyone.
Yes.
The Convert to Raid podcast is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out all of our friends as a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network over at signalsmedia.com. And now I'm done talking for a while. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week at a regular time, Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, I'm winded now.
Yeah, I bet. My goodness.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Woo!